I'm your host, Sammy Blanchette. Welcome, everybody. It is November 7th. It's a Thursday. And we're here once again at Okemo Valley TV. Thank you, Rebecca, Patrick, Peter, Sarah, everybody here for the platform. It's been great so far. My special guest this morning, as I wear Christmas colors and a really nice bright pink t-shirt we're matching, is Kelly Stettner of Black River Action Team.
Jazz hands.
So, yeah. So I'm wearing this in hopes that we get cold weather. I don't know if you want cold weather coming anytime soon. Or...
I'm 54. I'm ready for cold weather. I still have an air conditioner in the bedroom. So
yeah. So we discussed a little bit of history before the beginning and everything. Concord, New Hampshire. You've been in Vermont for a long time now, though?
Yep. Born in Concord, New Hampshire, raised in all the little towns around there, Kentucky, Hopkinton, Henniker, all those little communities.
Henniker. I've driven through that town many a time.
The only Henniker in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They used to have a really good German pretzel place.
Oh, did they?
All gone now. But yeah, moved to Vermont in 1988 because I thought I would be super smart and go to college because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Didn't we all think that at one point?
You know,
we're going to be super smart and do this. Yeah.
The smart kid, just go to college. That's the plan. Go do it.
Yeah, that's what they said.
No clue. Right. I had no guidance whatsoever, so I took things like pottery and anthropology and, an economics class that almost failed. Just all kinds of random stuff because it sounded like fun drama, all kinds of good stuff.
We talked about comedy in the opening. Do you know Lewis Black?
No.
The name, he's been around for a long time now.
All right.
And he always joked about economics. He goes, it goes up, it goes down. The money goes up, it goes down. Nobody actually really knows what's going on. And I know this because I took economics. And I'd explain it to you a little bit better, but I flunked that course. Now, my fault, they taught it at 8 o'clock in the morning. You have one bloodshot eye, you can't learn a damn thing with one of these, like, bloodshot eye. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a very early morning class now that I think about it.
And when I was in college, darn, economics is so important more than ever nowadays. Yeah. But yeah, I failed a couple of exams. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Yep. I think I told you that. I'm not 100% certain I remember.
They know now.
Yeah. So, anyways, you learned a couple different things at Bennington College, correct? You were saying you went down to Bennington. Your mom worked in daycare. Dad was a handyman.
Yep, Mom owned her own daycare.
Did you pick up on a lot of those similarities as you grew up?
I think what I got as I grew up was a combination of be a self-starter, be proud of what you do, be good at what you do it well, be a good neighbor, be a good community member, always seek to serve if you can, and be humble. And those things have served me, and always be willing to learn. Mm-hmm. The open mind is a curious mind, and never stop learning. So that was huge for me.
It's a good life lesson, and we all could do a better job of listening to each other.
We have 2 ears and one mouth.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's awesome. And so I had a brain fart for a minute. Actually, as I was sipping the coffee, I chipped my tooth really quickly, or I banged it. You ever done that before?
Yeah,
bit my tongue the other day. That was not fun.
Yeah, and then you always go back to that same spot.
Yeah,
you do that with the inside of the cheek or anything
and
like
it's like
that.
it all swells up and everything. Yeah, great thought right there. And
good reason to keep your mouth shut.
Besides the internet, Facebook, how did we actually meet? Was it the flood or helping out volunteer-wise over the spring?
I think it was the flood because you were running around handing out sandwiches.
That was fun.
From one of the wonderful restaurants in Ludlow. It might have been the Hatchery. Was handing out.
It was between the Hatchery and the Eatery by Vermont Bliss.
Yep, I think
John
mine.
And Michelle. Yeah.
I think mine might have had one of the eggs on it, the little chicken egg with the feet.
That one egg.
So
the one egg.
Single egg. So I think, and that was it. I'm like, so that's Sammy B. And he's gone already because you were like, you were pounding the miles.
I was on a mission. Well, John and Michelle gave me like a mission just to go up 100 down there. I said, all right, I'm on it. And that ties into what you had mentioned before, the serving, especially in the crisis of the flood.
Oh, yeah.
And take us through that because I want to like get into a little bit of what is Black River Action Team's like main philosophy, like from volunteer perspective, or what you guys do as far as a business model for the community.
Gotcha. Well, it started, and there's kind of an interesting superhero origin story with the River team. But it started out in 2000. I was in Springfield. We had just moved there, my husband and I, with our toddler daughter. And I've always loved rivers. That's my dad's fault. We would go fishing, not catching. We'd go fishing or just stream crawling, hanging out. So I hopped up and I'm looking over hopped up on the sidewalk and I'm looking over the railing of the bridge of the Black River right there in Springfield. And I was hoping to see a beaver or a duck or a fish or something. And it was shopping carts and it was cement bricks. And I made the mistake of saying out loud what I was thinking, which was, that's terrible. Somebody should do something. Because my husband elbowed me before I could start, okay, I should get in touch with the town, get in touch with the plaza. He goes, you're somebody. Oh, I am, aren't I? So the Connecticut River Watershed Council, they're now the Connecticut River Conservancy, they were doing their source to sea cleanup. And so I called them and I'm like, hey guys, can I participate up here? Is there someone I can touch base with or join on a team? And they're like, at the time, we don't have anybody working that far north. Why don't you start something?
Oh, wow.
So the whole be somebody, get connected to the river, roll up your sleeves, find out what you need, pull some partners together. Money, who needs money for this? Just go do it.
Right.
And so that's really that's my origin story. I blame my husband. He's even responsible for the name and the acronym. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, it's got to be something memorable, and it's got to speak to what you actually do.
Well, it makes for good memories right there. Like what's that old saying? I don't know, pizza because no good story started with a salad or something like that. One of those things.
Something like that. You're right.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
But be a somebody. See a problem. Find out who's doing something. If no one's doing something, what can you do?
do you think that's more an internal thing mentally with people?
It is.
Like it doesn't seem like something that could easily be taught, right? As much as they might teach motivation classes or refreshers, whether it's college or community college, whatever. It seems like to have a take care of your neighbor, motivation, good work ethic, that kind of comes from within here. And also good parenting, I would imagine, too.
And sometimes it just comes from somebody flipping that switch, like that elbow in the ribs. You're somebody.
Right.
Huh. Okay, so maybe change my paradigm rather than go report this. What can I do?
Right.
How can I be helpful with
That's
this?
like a happier version of rock bottom for you is your husband jabbing you like in the...
Yeah, give me an elbow anytime. I need it sometimes.
So, how many towns does BRAT cover? We're BRATs now, right?
We are officially
we
BRATs.
are officially BRATs. Yeah.
That's right.
How many towns in the community does it serve?
Everyone within the watershed, which is every piece of land that water drains to a point, and that point is the Black River. So the watershed is 202 square miles. Takes up most of Windsor County. So Springfield, North Springfield, Wethersfield, Perkinsville, Cavendish, Proctorsville, Ludlow, Plymouth, Mount Holly. There's a little smidgen of Chester in there, Baltimore, Andover, section of Andover. And
How many people work in your group?
I always say we, but it's kind of like the royal we. So it's mostly me and whoever else I can rope into doing a project. I do have some diehards that are like financial ad hoc committee, forming a steering committee for this, that, and the other project. But it's very much a project by project thing. So for a cleanup, this past cleanup, we only had 10 people help with the river sweep in Springfield. I was going through my older records, I think it was 2014, I had 100 people show up for a cleanup.
Wow.
For the flooding, oh my gosh, with the help of Melissa Rockhill and Lori Marichaux.
Okay, Lori.
Oh my heavens. They were able to help harness the influx of volunteers that were coming our way from the Okemo School, from the Chamber of Commerce and the state of Vermont even. We had, I'm going to say, close to 800 volunteers that contacted us and that we were able to contact back. And we deployed hundreds of people over the course of maybe 2.5 months and completed close to 80 projects, individual projects. That doesn't even count people going back to the same home, the same property owners, and helping out with, oh yeah, we got everything out of your house now. We'll come back next week and bring it up to the transfer station or finish raking your yard.
Have you seen a major increase in projects because of social media?
I have. There's a lot of folks who they're really not sure who to reach out to. They still need help with this, that, or the other thing. Who would I contact for water sampling because I'm concerned about our drinking well, or my stream bank's eroding. What can I do with that? Or, we still have moldy particle board in the basement or something. Who do I reach out to? And that's where the Black River Valley recovery group is coming in. We're now a long-term recovery group. And when I say we on that one, I'm just a partner in that. That's the Black River Good Neighbors Services and several other individuals and organizations within probably a 6-town area.
Gotcha.
Cavendish, Ludlow, and
So that's an active thing right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we actually have another meeting next week.
Gotcha.
So and we help each other out. We help out, not each other, we help each other's, we each bring projects to the table. We bring landowners' names and information to the table. We discuss who needs help where and who's the best person within this group to help them out.
Right. Is it stressful time managing it? Like what comes first priority wise, or is that kind of laid out depending on the person?
Yeah, that's for me at least with Black River Action Team. That's a huge part of my brain process. That's a big hurdle for me and I don't really see it as stress so much as pressure because they're like just pick and choose your projects. Like I have to learn how to I can't say yes to everything, but I can't really say no to people.
Yeah.
So I have to learn to say not right now.
Yeah. You and I are very similar in that. Being a contractor myself. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. And my experience from that is I always have the fear of, in our world, in our technologically fast-paced world that we've all contributed to now, is that you could be doing business with someone for 20-something years, and heaven forbid you want to take a vacation or do something else, and you don't have time to satisfy them one time. There's that risk that they'll forget about you and just go to someone else and just latch on to them.
Right.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we're so fast-paced and we're so quick to change.
Yeah.
We don't remember sometimes how much of a good thing that we always have. So as a contractor, as a musician, or a dog walker or volunteer guy, you always feel like, oh, okay. If I tell them one time I can't do it or I just don't have time to do it, maybe the fear of they'll never call you again scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
I'm sure that probably runs through your head also as well too sometimes.
I guess probably in a different way. It's more, if Kelly can't help me, kind of what good is she? Like, well, but the point is, Kelly's one person.
Yeah.
Kelly can maybe get you to some resources that can help you for now, and then in 2 or 3 months, I'll have the bandwidth to come over for a site visit. Yeah. But
Isn't that called mental capacity?
Yes. Yeah. I like bandwidth. That kind of makes me think of the old radio knobs where you're trying to find just that sweet spot.
And it's got all that static. Yeah. And all of a sudden you got Van Halen running with the devil.
A little AC/DC in there. That is right.
This is NPR News in Washington.
He does that well.
Yeah. Well, I did recently do some behind-the-scenes ad work for Okemo Valley TV about becoming a member of everything. And one of my guests recently said, dude, you'd be good at like sports talk radio. Well, funny that you mentioned that because I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. No, but it's a different version of interviewing people. And so, I don't know, like you said, listening and being a sponge, just kind of absorbing all that.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
yeah. But anyways, so BRAT is not-for-profit, I would imagine.
Correct. I'm in the process of working on getting it to be an official nonprofit, 501c3. I have a fiscal agent for the last 20 years. Since our second cleanup, we had a bunch of people in the river. We're doing chain gang, pulling out all these shopping carts behind what used to be Price Chopper in Springfield. It's all good. That was the year I learned that wearing shorts is a bad idea, and that.
Oh, come on. You mean what I'm doing right now?
When you're doing a river cleanup.
Yeah. Oh, the river cleanup.
Well, for me, it could be.
Yeah.
But rusty barbed wire and poison ivy make for a wonderful ticket to the ER. Very bad. But that first year, somebody was driving by.
Not even cortisone can fix that?
Oh, God. No. Blood infection. It looked like a rhinoceros. Awful stuff.
It makes my few bumps that I had on my elbow this summer from working out
I got a little
challenge course at Okemo. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. It's just don't think about it, right?
We ignore it. We ignore it.
Yeah. But when it's the size of a rhinoceros, it's kind of hard.
The big hard.
Yeah.
So.
Meanwhile, you're there. You're like, I just want to itch it. I want. I can't. Yeah.
But we learned some good stuff, though. We really did.
Yeah. My brief experience with you guys was obviously helping what was her name?
Wendy.
Yeah, Wendy. Yeah.
Yep.
I saw her, by the way, recently at Vermont.
The Honey
Golden,
Festival?
the Honey Festival,
Yes.
yeah. Which Susan Johnson made this of me in 2022. Shout out to Susan. And shout out to Wendy
Nice.
also, too.
Yes.
I like stacking firewood. Is there any particular project over the years that, from a physical labor perspective, you like the most?
I think of all
Good
the
pause, by the way.
I
We
know.
were talking about that. Yeah.
I need to
Yeah,
pause and
yeah.
really think because over the years it's been. This is our 2025 is the 25th birthday of BRAT. Wow. So if you like these shirts, you're gonna like the 2025 shirts.
So that means
Different color every year.
1999, right before the millennium.
Well, 2000 was the first event.
Okay.
So 2001 is my first year. So
Gotcha.
2025 is my my 25th year, but it'll be the 26th cleanup.
You know,
if that
graphic
makes
design
sense.
has come quite a long way since
sure
then.
has.
Technology has gone.
Shout out
quite
to
a-
Stay Classy Prince, my buddy Travis.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
my good friend, I have a good friend who's going to be doing tie-dye for 2025.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be super cool.
Yeah, by the way, if you ever need a guy, a backup guy, Blanchette Sporting Goods in Connecticut.
There we go.
if
I
you
have
need a
heard
guy.
of them.
Shout out to my parents and my grandparents.
Nice.
Since 1968. Yes, so if you
That's
need a
awesome.
guy.
If I need a guy.
Tie-dye is a lot of fun, by the way. I have tie-dye kind of in
Oh,
here.
that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, just recently came back from Colorado, as I mentioned, 8 days. You ever been out there?
We drove through. We moved to Northern California for a few months.
Did you? Where? Where'd you go?
Eureka, California,
Eureka.
way up north. And it was just, it was like the Twilight Zone for me. My husband loved it. It was so temperate. It was so warm.
Is that near Tahoe?
I don't think so. I don't think it's near much of anything. It's not too far from Oregon. I mean,
Yeah.
you drive north, you're on the lost coast out there.
Yeah. Did you ever experience an earthquake out there?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Well,
On
you know,
that what is it called? The San Andreas Fault?
I'm not sure which fault it is up there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
got cracks in the ground. It's near the Pacific Ocean,
that's
somewhere
good.
right there.
That's as
yeah.
much as I know. But redwoods, we drove through the redwoods. It's gorgeous, great place to visit.
Isn't out west so beautiful?
It really is. But yeah, the Rockies were astounding, just astounding, very breathtaking, very humbling.
Did you ever hit Rocky Mountain National Park in Estes Park?
I think the only
Where I
real
was just at.
big
That is-
stop we did was the Omaha Zoo,
Where's that?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh.
the Henry Doorly Zoo.
Come on,
that was
a
freaking
layup.
awesome.
I was thinking Omaha, Colorado. There had to be like one out. Maybe
yeah,
there
yeah,
is?
there is
Is
probably.
There? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
We'll look that up
Yeah,
later.
yeah. Hey, there's a Milford, Connecticut. There's a Milford, Mass.
And how
I
many
think.
Springfields are there?
Oh,
you
and
know?
what? Doesn't every street have a Spring Street or a Main Street? I think every
yeah.
town has a Main Street.
Yeah, Maple Street. Every town is a Main Street. They
Yeah.
should,
Yeah.
especially in Maine.
How many hours a week do you put into BRAT?
Too many.
Too many.
So,
is
supposed
it
to-
your only job, or do you do?
No,
other,
I actually this would have been my 30th year at the desk job, answering phones, ordering toilet paper, shipping maps, all that good stuff for a telecommunications company. This would have been my 30th year doing that. But the Ottaquechee Natural Resources Conservation District, their district manager was retiring, and they were tugging on my shirt sleeve saying, "Kelly, you need to apply for this job. You need to apply for this job." So I did. So I'm doing 30 hours a week for Ottaquechee.
Did you get it? You got
I
the
did.
job. Yeah,
I did.
congrats.
January.
Woo! Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be 10 hours a week for BRAT, but I'm up till 9, 10, 11
So is
o'clock
that
at
is that a
night,
long
working
commute,
weekends.
or is that work from home?
That's actually work from home. I do have to go up to the White
Okay.
River Junction office for ONRCD and check the mail and check in with the farm service folks that are in the same
all
building.
that bill paying office
Yeah,
work.
I know,
yeah,
right,
all
right.
that. Yeah, yeah.
But it's kind of a heavy lift. There's a lot to learn. There's
Yeah.
reports and finances and meetings and all the jazz. But it's all river stuff. It's a different. There was stress in the desk job. You're working for someone else. This is I'm working for other people, but it's the job genre that I want to be in. It's
Right.
rivers, it's soils. We gotta grow our soils.
Right.
We gotta grow more shrubs and trees and vegetation. We've gotta keep that the moisture cycle going. We've got to keep. There's so much to learn about water and the oceans and the vegetation and the soil, and we got to get those deep tap roots going so we can keep the life in the soil, so that it'll hold the trees, so that it'll hold the land, so that we don't have as bad flooding, and it's all connected.
I'm curious
Mind-blowing.
I'm curious on that topic because obviously with the flooding that we had last year and the insane weather patterns, not just in Vermont, but New Hampshire, Maine, kind of all across the country. How, in this area in particular, have you noticed from that perspective, from a geological perspective, of we had so much rain last year, and to now we've essentially been in a major drought this summer. It's kind of one extreme to the next. It's got to throw off your processes, like for groundwork, I would imagine, right? Like if you're doing projects or whoever's scientist-wise, biologists, whoever's in charge of that, I would imagine it's challenging, right?
Well, it's challenging for things like water quality monitoring, because sometimes if it's really dry and the streams are really low, you can't find a hole to put your cup in to get your sample. And the shallower water tends to be warmer, harder for the fish to survive because warmer water doesn't hold dissolved oxygen as much as those nice cold tributary streams do. But I was at a soil workshop recently put on by the White River Conservation District. I'm going to butcher her last name, but her first name is Dee Dee, and she is an amazing woman. And she was talking
That's a cool
about
name, by the way.
Dee Dee. Oh,
yeah.
And she was talking about how you can have drought and flood at the same time or within the same year.
I think it all depends on how much rain falls at one time, right? That kind of goes with anything.
The way she explained it, that I understood it, was that it's how deep and how healthy the topsoil is. Because if you've got hard pan, you've got really shallow topsoil that doesn't have a lot of life in it, doesn't have those air pockets and gas exchanges going on. It's not absorbent. It doesn't have those fungal threads in it. I'm going to mycorrhize that stuff, the mushroom threads in there.
By the way, you didn't need college because you already knew all this.
Self-learning, it's a thing. But that deeper, richer topsoil tends to be healthier and spongier, so that when we do get the rains, it'll soak it in more. You get vegetation going on, and if you can picture it raining in here, roughly 14 miles an hour for a raindrop.
I didn't bring my rain jacket, so I don't want it raining in here.
Not with the electronic equipment, but it would pound off of things, and it would just it would pummel first of all, and maybe activate some of the soil particles that it had just impacted, and it'll just run it right off. Whereas if it's hitting, let's say he's a tree. Be a tree.
Sir Paul, be a tree.
There you go.
Yeah.
If it's hitting the canopy, it's breaking up each of those drops into little tiny droplets, and then it's soaking down the trunk and soaking into that soil. So the more shrubbery, the more vegetation we can grow, especially if it's connected, like you got a forest here, then you've got a nice lush wetland area here, then you've got some shrubbery on this guy's property here. That lady decided she doesn't need to mow 3 acres. She can put some trees in the back, only mow where you go, and just really help it to soak in.
You're a poet also, too. Mow where you go.
That's not my own. I stole that, borrowing it. But, help the rain get into the soil. Because the river, we drive along the rivers, we drive through our towns, we see this pretty ribbon of water on the land. But I'm trying to encourage folks to think about that river 3-dimensionally. It's in the land. It is of the land. It is shaped by and shaping the land. So when it rains, it hits, Sir John here and Sir Paul, sorry, excuse me, and soaks in.
It forgives you.
And then it's soaking through the ground. It's feeding the river from the sides and from below. There's a whole biome. There's a whole ecosystem under the river. Little tiny itty bitty critters down underneath all the rocks and the cobbles and the sediment, and it's all interconnected.
But it's interesting because water is just going to do what it wants, also too, right? I mean, you can't tell Mother Nature or a river to do what we want.
Water will always find a way.
Water's always going to find a way, which I learned. You probably already knew this, but I guess years ago, before Shaw's, Mary Davis, M&T Bank, and when everything used to be there, it was just a wetland, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
kind of same with where Sam's and Mr. Darcy's are,
and
too,
the Springfield
right?
Plaza too. Yep. And we say just a wetland, but thinking of the value of that, when we think about sponge, where that it's wet land. It's wet for a reason. When the rivers rise and the streams overflow, they need a place to spread out and slow down. And if there's already that big wide area or small wide area that's already kind of wet and soggy, it's prepared to soak up more.
Right.
So those, I know back in the day, I grew up in rural New Hampshire in the 70s and 80s. It was a swamp and you filled it in and you paved it. And they're doing it in New Hampshire. I drive
Probably
to Claremont.
jumped in it as a mud pile, right? Yeah, you used to throw mud at each other, right?
Something
Or-
like that. But I mean, it was
something like
mosquitoes. I mean, fill it in,
Look
gross,
out for
we
the
don't want
mosquito.
that.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
You know,
yeah.
now we're starting to really see the value, not just ecologically, but economically. When we think about the damage that happens in our downtowns, we build in the valleys.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Of course we do. I mean,
Right.
what's a stream doing? It's starting up in these mountain areas and it's pummeling down the mountains, smashing rocks against each other. It's bringing minerals and nutrients down the mountains.
Well, you factor in the law of gravity also too. Like it gets started and it just doesn't stop.
Yep, it's got its own process, and the more velocity, the more power that stream's got, the more it can carry. And then it gets down to the flat areas, blows out all that sediment, which is nutrients and minerals. That's where the rich farmlands were. That's where we would grow stuff, because that's where the good soil was. And then, you know, we build up into the hills because, you know, we want to let the floodplain be the farmland. And then we realized we can.
Looks like you're just wiping down a counter. Is that what it?
Yes.
Right.
The
That's right. Yeah,
floodplain is just wiping everything.
Oh God, here we go. Brain fart again. Oh,
Yeah, well, it's
sorry.
'cause
Hold on. Yeah, okay. You're a mother of two kids, three kids. Yeah, three kids. I listened to my mom when I was 8. We were on top. Only when I was 8. We were on top of the Empire State Building. This was before 9/11. We were on top of the Empire State Building, and we're looking at the binoculars out to the old Twin Towers and of Liberty Island and everything. And the why? Oh, I had a quarter in my hand because you had to, like, in order to use the binoculars, you had to insert change or whatever.
Coin up.
And I just remember before I put the quarter in there, I might be fumbling the story. I don't remember. But I remember looking down the 86th floor over the balcony, and there's all the taxi cabs and the people down below. Oh, this is cool. Kind of scary, but cool. I was 8. I didn't know any better. I had dirty blonde hair. I was just high up on sugar. Like, I just watched a cool Nickelodeon episode. Stuff. Things we do. Anyways, my mom goes, yeah, don't drop that quarter. I go, why? She goes, the law of gravity. As soon as you drop it, it goes further and faster down. Could slice someone in the head. I don't know if that's actually ever happened. It probably has. But law of gravity. So I never did that. And now I see where you're saying, hey, the rain starts up here on top of Okemo, for example, and goes all the way down. And so anyways, economically, you see with the planet warming, and especially now as I wear Christmas colors to try to encourage Mother Nature to get snowmaking temperatures for our lovely mountain.
I remember singing I'm Dreaming of a Brown Christmas a few years ago because it was brown right at Christmas
just like
time.
the ones we're used to now, right? Sorry, parody. It does affect all of us economically, right?
It does.
And especially, if you think about it, it affects making snow on the mountain, which drives the people here from flatlander states like Connecticut. Sorry to all the states, but that's where I'm from originally.
Married a Flatlander, it's okay.
Yeah. New Jersey and New York. They don't see snow out in their backyards. They might be discouraged to come up here. And then if they don't see snow up here, oh boy, we're in major trouble. And you think about it, it affects everybody. It affects all the mountain ops departments, the musicians,
The food industry,
the food
whole
industry,
hospitality industry.
even the real estate industry, and Airbnb, as far as like people coming up and staying at homes and stuff, or people that are looking to sell their valuable property. I mean, it's not good. It is not good, like what's going on, you know.
Think back to one of our favorite Christmas movies we watch. We have a roster that we watch. We try to watch every single year, and one of them is White Christmas from the 40s. And I don't know if you remember that.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen that.
You got to watch that.
Yeah.
You got to watch it. Danny Kaye and Bing Crosby. And they take the train up to Vermont from New York City, I think it is. And they're singing about snow the whole way up and, you know, all the shushing and all the great stuff. And they get up here and like, where's the snow? We haven't had snow since Thanksgiving. I'm like, what? What do you mean? But it's all cyclical. But yeah, the economics of whether we get preservation, whether we get precipitation, and how much of it we get and how fast we get it.
Yeah.
And we've also thinking about the snow. We do get snow melt. We do get ice jams. We do get ice melt.
Right.
And if we can treat that the same as we treat rainfall and try to keep it on the land and in the land, just on our own properties. It doesn't necessarily have to be, a 30-acre floodplain in the middle of town. But if everybody if everybody did 5 small things on their property to encourage the rain to soak in, rather than here's a culvert, shunt it away. It doesn't go away. It goes into a ditch, which then goes into a bigger culvert, which then goes into a stream, which then it's going faster and carrying more, and boom,
go
it's
into
going
a
to hit the
bigger
river,
and then it's going to go into the ocean. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
And then
yeah.
before it can get to the ocean, it's going to go into our shopping plaza. It's going to go into the car dealership. It's going to go into homes. It's going to undermine bridges.
I have to
slow it down.
I have to ask, have you learned have you learned a lot of that? Yeah, slow it down. Yeah, just like people skiing and somewhere. We're driving the car. Did you learn any of that from gardening by chance? As far as soil management and
a little bit. Mostly it's just my home gardening. I have raised beds because I'm old and I don't like to bend over. So and I have dogs and I don't want them digging.
What do you like to grow?
There's what I like to grow and there's what I can grow.
Right.
So Matt's wild cherry tomatoes, they grow when even if I'm not planting them, like, oh, that's another, there it is.
I wasn't hoping you were going to grow, but you did. Yeah.
Yeah. You can have the whole bed. There you go.
Yeah,
so it's one entire bed from one cherry tomato.
Strawberries to,
raspberries. I like the red raspberries. We grow those. I like growing, I've got garlic going. So I've got a whole bed of garlic, and in a perfect world, I'd have enough time, and I would have my whole herb garden. I'd have the anise hyssop, I'd have the lemon balm, the whole 9 yards. The chamomile, make my own teas. I also make my own fudge, so I like to get the mint. Oh,
shout out to you for that fudge.
Cuba. The grandfather was born in Cuba. They came over to Miami, Florida, when the dad was just a young thing, and then he married a Hungarian Jew, and Elaine was the cook. Elaine cooked for her husband, her Cuban husband.
Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld?
No. Elaine Schwartz.
Yeah.
And she
cooked. I like that name, Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Her mother was Magdalena. I will tell you.
Whoa. And what's Magdalena's? I don't even think I said that right. Magdalena.
Yeah.
The middle name.
You got it.
What was the middle name?
I don't remember what Magdalena's was.
Because it's got to be a pretty serious middle name, too.
She was a very serious
for that first
woman.
name, there's got to be.
She was a serious. I'll have to look it up. I did do a little bit of research. But
did you ever, when you were growing up or with your kids, did you ever call them by the middle name when they were doing something wrong?
All the time.
So whenever I got Samuel Henry from my mom.
Yep. That's some serious.
Tighten up. Straighten out.
Yep.
Otherwise, the wooden spoon's coming. You're going to get a light tap.
There you go.
On the rear end.
Or a smack on your own hand to get their attention, kind of like clapping.
Not to go down this rabbit hole. No one can get away as a parent doing that nowadays.
I know.
The wooden spoon.
Yep.
I know. But all it was just a light tap. That's all it was.
Yeah, it was just a little get your my
mom
mom would smack the table with it, like, get your attention.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Straighten it up.
Yeah.
She broke a spoon doing that.
You know my mom.
I told you not
to. It's all right. You can find it on Facebook Marketplace now. Yeah. How many times? Order in the court. Yeah.
That exactly. It's like a gavel.
That Three Stooges episode. Yeah. The disorder in the court. Remember when Moe's like squeezing Curly's head? I'll squeeze her out or something. What's the matter? You trying to kill me? Look, Judgy Wudgy. He's asking you, Curly, if you swear. No, but I know all the whites. Okay, discipline. Hold on.
Rewind.
Back up.
Food, cooking. Was there anything else I liked to cook?
I'm staring in the lights right now.
I'm not allowed to cook because Elaine taught.
I thought you're not allowed to stare in the lights.
We don't do that.
We don't do that.
Yeah, that's naughty.
So you're not allowed to cook. Your husband's the cook.
He is the cook. Elaine taught all 6 boys, or tried to teach all 6 boys how to cook. And it really took with my husband and his younger brother, who lives in Florida still.
Mm-hmm. Miami area still?
Pensacola, so up and around. So he's been fine with the storms this season. Yeah, he does all the cooking, and I'll do some desserts. But the fudge making I started because our daughter was going to college, and one of her scholarships fell through, and she was freaking out.
So she made fudge?
I said, don't worry about it. Just apply for another loan. You know, it's like $2,000. I don't know. I'll make fudge. We'll sell
Meanwhile,
it.
the little guy in your head is saying,
what am I going to do now? Yosemite Sam on this shoulder. And yeah.
You ever seen that Disney movie, The Emperor's New Groove?
Yes.
Yeah, where Krunk's got the angel and the devil. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, the devil's like, listen up, big guy. I got 3 good reasons why I think you should just walk away and let him go down that river. Number 1, look at the guy over there. He's got that sissy, stringy harp thingy, music thingy. And the guy goes, we've been through this. It's a harp. And you know it. Right. That's a harp. And that's a dress. Robe. Reason number 2, look what I can do. And he goes on a handstand. And then the actual Krunk goes, oh, wait, what does that have to do with anything? And the angel goes, no, he's got a point.
Yeah. They're constant.
Yeah, so that's your brain going back and forth. Yeah, another $2,000, but you can't say
do it.
You want to say it, but you can't say that. It's like, okay, that's my kid.
Yep. It's like, you know what? Don't worry about it. We'll make fudge and we'll sell it at farmers markets or something. We'll just make it work.
She doesn't have a peanut allergy, right?
She does. Nobody in the house has any
Nobody
allergies.
else. So that is a very good thing from a food perspective.
It worked out great. And the first fudge
you
that
did your job. Yeah.
The first fudge I started making was called Penucci. If you've ever had Penucci fudge,
That just sounds like a town. Maybe not in Florida.
Yeah, it should be a town.
Maybe not in Florida, but
I think I should start it. It's like an Italian town. Penucci,
Sure.
come on
So,
over.
hey, the 2 of you, Spanucci, Azzamata Panucci. Azzamata for you.
your face.
Take it easy. Yeah.
Smack at you.
I forgot to mention Sam Kinison earlier. We were talking about it in the pregame.
Yes.
You seen the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield? No. Kinison's just screaming. Kinison's the teacher. Rodney Dangerfield is the student. It's a history class, yeah. You're going to do this homework assignment and you're going to like it. No! And he walks away. And Dangerfield's just like, nice guy.
Yeah.
Really seems to care. About what? I don't know. I just know he gives me no respect. Nobody gives me any respect. No. No respect. Yeah. That's Italian sounding, right? No respect? Yeah.
No respect.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, if you say it with the right accent, you could do that.
You get respect for your higher up job now? Your promotion?
I don't know about yeah, I guess so.
That was just kind of a joking question. That was a play on the words.
I don't know.
So I remember when I was
You can edit that part out.
No, you
That's
do.
all good.
You do. I was gonna ask you earlier. So between volunteer efforts with BRAT and this job that you've been doing like almost 30 years now with the company, you've got great speaking voice. You're so positive.
Thank you.
However, you're also a mom.
Yes.
And you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly side of human beings.
Yes.
Do you have some days where you just mentally want to snap with some of the phone calls that you have and some of the organization with people?
Yes. I know that every time we do a cleanup, there's usually.
I hope I'm not making you cry. It was just an honest.
It's been 25 years doing cleanups. Yeah. And there have been times during cleanups or toward the end of a cleanup where I just look at all the crap we've pulled out and I go, what the heck is wrong with people? Why would you do that?
Right.
Ugh. And then I have to stop and literally flip a switch and go, look at all these awesome people who showed up to help. Look at the energy these people have. They're committed. They're excited to be here. It's just inspiring to me. It's less about the amount of crap we pull out and remove from the landscape and the river. And it's more about the people that engage and want to get out there and help and want to do something better. Because they also have that, this is ridiculous, look at this. This is the 400th beer can I've picked up. Okay, well that's, $5 worth of recyclables for one thing. We donate that.
Yeah.
But also, we can put this out on social media. We can put this out in newsprint. We can get on the radio or the TV and say, look, this is what we're seeing. We're seeing some trouble spots here and there. Maybe we can all pull together. Or I've had kids that came and helped with cleanups as like Boy Scouts and their troop came, or in a group, they came and they were helping out. And later on, they would come back to me a couple years later and say, I saw my buddy trying to throw something over the bridge into the river, and I yelled at him. I said, don't do that. I got to pull that out in the next river sweep. Don't you throw that in there. And I think it does make that difference in the long term.
Yeah. You mentioned flipping the switch, and it made me think of something that's really, really important that I think about constantly myself also too. The flipping of the switch. It's amazing what a change in our own individual perspective and our attitude, starting with tone of voice and just overall mental status thinking it, how it goes from, what the F this, blah, 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 to all of a sudden it's like, hey, someone showed up.
Yeah.
And they took time out of their day
Yeah.
And they respected me because they showed up for me like I suggested it.
Yep.
And it's amazing that change of philosophy all of a sudden brings your mood into a better stratosphere. It leads to more positive results. It kind of gives you even more like motivation.
Yeah.
Whereas suppose if you just think like the negative, you're not going to want to do anything.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's environment status for anybody is not only physical environment, but mental environment. If you just change your thoughts on it of more like, hey, this could be a positive, that could be a positive.
Yeah.
Man, it feels good. Don't
Yeah.
you think? It feels really good.
Absolutely.
When
I mean, this last cleanup, I could have been, oh God, only 10 people showed up. Hey, the local radio station showed up. He was broadcasting live. 10 people showed up to actually work. The local church showed up to grill hot dogs for us. This is amazing. And look at all this stuff. They got like 35 tires, 10 people. My son who would normally have been at home on his computer, he was out with his best buddy with a grappling hook hauling up shopping carts. They pulled up a couple shopping carts. And then they went off with the boat crew to go up the river to get tires. The next time I saw them, they were both barefoot and they were rolling this tractor tire from the 30s down the parking lot to get to us to dump it off.
Yeah.
And they had a great time. Nobody got hurt. Knock wood, that's always a win.
How often do you see in yourself or your kids where you put the phone down or you put the computer down and you do physical labor outside and you're not staring at a screen? Do you see like they feel happy every once in a while, like you're reconnected with the world when you're not looking at that?
Yes.
They're great, but they're stressful. But flipping the switch, they're a blessing to have.
Yeah.
But flipping the switch back again, they are stressful. And so every once in a while,
You should talking about kids or electronic devices?
Electronic devices, yeah. Well, I don't have kids, so yeah. By the way, did you see my status the other day about screaming babies on my flight back from Boston, from Colorado?
Missed that.
Here's the thing. All right, I don't have kids, and you have to be kind, right? We all have to like do better being kind. But the reality is, 3.5 hours of kids screaming. Yeah. I have my thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, there's got to be like there's a patience limit, I would think.
Yeah.
The kid was fine, by the way. Kid was totally fine. All of them were fine.
So it wasn't a matter of like, air pressures messing up your ears, crying.
Could have been, or 6 months old. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot to put on a 6 month
Oh,
old.
it is. But for 3.5, I know.
Yeah,
But 3.5 hours is tough. You got to eventually look out for yourself every once in a while. And then, of course, the people go, why don't you put headphones on? Why don't you do Sometimes I'm a musician. Sometimes I don't like to listen to music on my off time. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but anyways.
As long as it's not your own music.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Plug in your own little playlist.
scan the QR code on the
There you go.
Yeah. I guess that could be a plug, by the way. By the way, you guys can see all the episodes of The Tasty Twist on OkemоValley.tv or SammyBmusic.com. Once again, we're here with Kelly Stettner on episode number 33. She's of the BRAT, Black River Action Team. This has been a lot of fun. Any big projects on the horizon for you? For the group or yourself?
I'm really, really hoping that we are on the cusp of getting some floodplain areas planted in the flood-ravaged locations, places that are consistently flooding. So the idea, it's called...
Give us some of those if you don't mind.
Well, I'm calling it Grow Resilience because I want to grow resilience on the landscape and in people. I want to get spaces like, let's say, the Little League field in Ludlow. That's not really going to be suitable for a Little League field anymore. It floods
Where's
regularly.
that again? That's over near La Valley's?
yeah.
Is it across the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we can, using that as an example, if we could get that planted with very local native floodplain species, shrubs, trees, grasses, flowers, all the good stuff, get them all in there. And then a lot of those we can go back in once they're established. We're not going to dig anything up, but we can hold workshops on identification of the different species. We can do seed collection from the flowers. We can do berries and seeds from some of the lower trees, cuttings, like the willows, the poplars, the dogwoods, anything that will allow us to take cuttings. It enriches that particular plant. If you ever see a willow shrub that the beavers took half of it or a third of it, and the willows looks like, oh, great, I got more opportunity to grow more. And then we don't have to wait for grant money when we have somebody with a stream bank that's having problems. Yeah. We can go collect all that and go plug it right into the stream bank. So we're growing that resiliency right here in the community. And then, that landowner comes to the workshop and goes, oh, yeah, I know what that flower is. I'm going to collect some of those, and there's some cuttings. They can then teach their neighbor or the people across the street.
Are these great opportunities for kids to learn also as well, too?
That's huge for me. I would like not only to get that knowledge in them, but the whole be somebody. I know when 9/11 hit, I had a horrible, horrible mindset. It was, I'm too far away to do anything meaningful. I'm not going to drive down there and donate blood. I'm not going to go knee deep in the rubble and try to fix things. I'm all the way up here. I'm close enough that it really, really impacted me, but I'm not close enough to do anything. What can I do? And I had a coworker nudge me and go, hey, we doing that river thing again? And it was like shaking my head and the scales fell away. I'm like, oh, we could do the river thing again. So we'll do a cleanup again. Yeah, let's do it. And it was the proactive, I'm making my own little corner of the world healthier and better and stronger and more positive. It's super Pollyanna, but it's also just super basic.
That's sometimes all you can do, but it's enough. It's enough to start also.
And
as well,
kids
too.
need that. They need that sense of I can do something. I'm not powerless. I'm not just, I'm waiting for the water to rise. What can I do in my own backyard with my parents? We can go to a workshop and learn about, shrubs and trees that are helpful for our property, and they can talk about it in the schoolyard. We can help the schoolyards plant stuff.
This is one of the things that I think gets lost in our society every once in a while is, and I'm younger. I was born in 1989. I'm 35, and there's all the past generations from the World Wars and the Civil War and just everything. I mean, those past generations, they fought for the luxuries and the freedom that we ultimately still hold on to in the United States of America. And when all that was accomplished, the looking out for each other, looking out for the neighbors, building great things because we were trying to help one another. In a way, if you look back at the old footage from that horrific day 23 years ago, of the very next day, we all truly, and it was so fresh, obviously, a day later, fresh in everybody's mind, came together as one. And I think as time continues to pass through very fastly, and we're so addicted to our phones and just doing our own thing, at the same time, it's important to do your own thing and look out for yourself first and foremost. But those random acts of kindness of looking out for each other, we can't lose that. Yeah. And so I think that was a great perspective and a great thing to hear of that. I can't make it down to Lower Manhattan, at the time, but every day in my local community here in Vermont, a couple states away, I can still be a better person than my local community there.
And hopefully
that's an amazing thing to hang on to.
It is, and hopefully humbly inspire other people. It's like planting seeds, which is another thing I want to do with the whole floodplain thing, is plant a lot of berry. We talk about invasive plants here and there.
Can you plant blackberries, for goodness sakes? I mean, come on, I love blackberries.
We could do that.
Tell the audience, I think Rebecca can get on your earrings. The earrings.
Oh,
I love the story about the earrings.
Yes. Yeah. I got these at the Springfield Co-op. They're wooden, and I can't remember the name of the artist, but I'll get two different responses. If anybody notices them out and about, I'll get two different responses. It's either, nice earrings, or that's a really unique symbol. What does that mean? And so I do tell folks who ask about what symbol it is that it's the ancient Sumerian goddess of music. But if you can tell what they actually are, they're inserts for 45 records from back in the day. The 45s were the ones with the big holes in the middle, and you stick that in, and then with the other
kids
hole.
18 and younger, listen up, please. Listen up.
Now I have to come up with a name for the ancient Sumerian goddess of music.
As we were talking about in the warm-up, the rewinding the cassettes and the VCRs with a pencil.
Yes. And then recording from the radio and hoping the DJ would shut up. I need to press popcorn.
Yeah, because now literally with Bluetooth in your car with your phones, you can change to YouTube, you can change to Spotify, you can change anything at any point in
Sirius
time.
XM, you can listen to whatever you want.
There's no excuse. If you don't like something, change the channel. If you don't like this podcast, which I hope everybody likes the podcast, fine, go to someone else's podcast.
Scroll on by. You can do that.
Exactly.
Or turn it off and go out in the sunshine.
Oh, it's like Facebook with the comment section. If you don't like something, just scroll on.
That's
Scroll
it.
on.
That's
Oh,
it.
man. And that's another thing also, too. Going back to the Emperor's New Groove with the devil and the angel talking, don't engage with them. Now you can think it, but don't engage. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know how many times I've started typing. I'm like, nope, I don't want that in my head today. I just don't want that in my spirit today. We're just not going to go there.
You have any travel plans in the future? Any vacation?
No.
Vermont's a vacation, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. I was born and raised in New England, spent my entire life minus those 9 months in California where they didn't have foliage. I mean,
Right.
daffodils in January, there's something wrong with that. I am one of the biggest leaf peepers ever. I will just go out, even in my own backyard, and I'll just sit there and I'll look at the landscape.
Right.
I'll look at the leaves. I'll look at the grass. I'll look at the weeds, whatever's growing nearby.
You've been
just
seeing those leaves just come and go for 54 years.
love it. I love every minute of
Yeah.
it. I love watching it, bobbing down the river. I even like it when it turns brown
Yeah.
and it's stick season.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, stick season is sexy. You can see the structures of every tree and shrub. Oh, it's just so honest.
You
It's
can
beautiful.
see the acorns. You can see the squirrels kind of picking at the last little bit.
Yep. You can see
God.
those beautiful, right now, those red winter berries. Oh,
Yeah.
those low growing, they're in like boggy, wetlandy areas.
Yeah.
Those low growing shrubs that have really big, almost grape sized, great, big, bright red berries. Oh, it's a feast for
My
the
dog
birds.
can't have those. Grapes are not good for dogs.
Yeah, grapes are not good.
as you know.
I'm sure winter berries might not be either, so, but.
But apples are good for dogs. Denver
Yep.
Denver loves apples. Speaking of which, this is our second time seeing each other today.
I know.
Dog park. You have a big project lined up that you're trying to do at the dog park as well, too?
Just starting the conversation there. I met with Kevin up there today, and he's going to talk with Brendan, see if it would be feasible. We might try a couple of different things. I want to see if they would be open to some shrub willows and some dogwoods way down close to the water, where they don't have to mow anything, but as not only as a screen to try to keep the geese out, but those
So let's
are.
say that the ducks and the geese can like eat all that stuff down there.
Nah,
Yeah,
they won't. In fact, any kind of vegetation knee high or higher, they don't even want to get up in there. If you mow and keep lawn right to the edge of the water, they're loving it because they'll come right up. They'll poop. They'll do everything. But if there's vegetation, I think it's either they're too lazy to try to get through the vegetation, but it's also there might be predator hiding in there. I don't want to get near that, and it'll keep them away from your lawn.
Like a Komodo dragon in New Zealand.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't.
So,
Velociraptor.
Who knows?
Hippos. You never know.
Hippos? I like hippos.
I
They got
do too.
massive teeth.
They do. They're scary.
Did you ever play a game with your kids, Hungry Hippos?
Yes, and they were
Love
just,
that game.
they're friendly looking hippos. That's not true. That's not reality.
It was the game I went to out in Colorado. They're hungry. What
Fixated
can you
on-
say? Yeah, exactly. There used to be a place called Chuck E. Cheese's in Connecticut. I always used to go to, and it's the Whack a Crocodile. You ever play that one? Or the other one, it was funny too. When I was out in Colorado, the whack and hit the bell to see how much strength you have.
Yep.
Man, I blew that thing out of the water. I was strong, evidently. And then it made it all the way to the very top, hit the bell and everything. And I'm like, wait, that's it? One hit? 50 cents? That's all I get is one hit? I wanted to hit it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It only let
just
me
too
hit it
fun.
once. It's like, nope, you get one shot to determine your bicep power. And then that was it. Major letdown.
Bicep power. I just don't have the joints to be able to swing that thing. Throw my back
as
out.
as I constantly cross my leg and I feel it in my hip as I'm coming down. By the way, is there any worse? No, there's a lot of worse feelings, but this is a pretty bad worse feeling. When your leg just falls asleep, or the side of your rear end just falls asleep.
I don't mind that so much with me. It's more, if I'm standing next to a picnic table and I put my foot up on the seat and I'm leaning over it and then I go to put my foot back down,
And it
I
sleeps.
tweaked a nerve.
Or you tweaked-
and then I can't move. That's embarrassing.
What is that? I'm not a neurologist.
Sciatica
But it's
or
a
something.
sciatica.
I don't know.
Oh, God. Well, we've discussed all the soil and ground issues. We're going to have to get into the human body, I think, on the next episode.
Well, let me tell you. No.
Let me tell you, when I was a kid, yeah.
I was your age.
When I was a kid, we didn't have Nickelodeon. we didn't have Just for Laughs.
You had to get up and go
Montreal.
turn the channel. Yeah. You had to go up on the roof and adjust the antenna.
We didn't have Dunkin' Donuts. We had to make in the percolator coffee.
I love blowing away the kids at Dunkin' Donuts to let them know that there used to be a donut that was old-fashioned, crispy on the outside, and it had like a half a munchkin stuck onto it, so you could hold that and dunk your coffee, dunk your donut in. It was called a Dunkin' Donut. That's where that comes from.
It's funny, out in Colorado, Dunkin' Donuts are like few and far between, but there's one out in Boulder, Colorado, the college town out there near Denver. And there's a Dunkin' Donuts out there. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. I remember years ago, they didn't really have these. And the sign says Dunkin' Donuts, coffee and more. And all I could think, my mind just going, no crap, that's what it is, coffee and more. Like, I know this. I'm a New Englander. I know, yeah. But that's a thing.
Well, if they see donut in the sign, they don't think you could potentially even remotely sell coffee.
Isn't it amazing how much in some aspects, Kelly, we still have to be coddled on so many aspects? Like, we need daily reminders of what this is. Just walk inside the building. You can figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's asking a lot out of humans sometimes.
Yes. Yeah,
but then flip the switch. Oh, they showed up.
Yes. This is true. This is true.
This is true. Well, guys, once again, this is Kelly from BRAT for episode number 33. Lastly, any other inspirational? You've already given a lot of inspirational advice. But any shout out to anybody in particular on this episode, or any additional inspirational advice you can give?
I hate to do shout outs because I know I'm going to forget somebody. I know that's a tough
It's okay.
You're
coming back for another episode. That's okay.
We'll do that too.
In the spring after ski season.
Nice.
So, yeah, nice.
I think probably my big takeaway, or my big thing I'd like to leave people thinking about, it's kind of two-pronged. One is that over all these years of working with the river and learning about the river, the nature of nature is change. And like the nature of capital N nature is change. The rivers are always changing, always moving. Even when we tell them what we think we want them to do, they're always making their own way. We can take some inspiration from that and be humbled by it. And then the other thing was that rivers are completely neutral. They don't care who I voted for. They don't care who I love. They don't care what my bank account looks like. The river.
They don't care if you drink coffee or tea.
Or tea.
Or dunk your donuts.
Yes, if you dunk your donuts, that's fine.
Right. If you have a breakfast sandwich on a Portuguese muffin or a brioche bun or croissant, it don't matter.
Rivers do not judge. If you're in the way and they need that sediment that's on your property, they will try to take it. It's not a judgy thing. It's just the nature of nature.
Lewis Black also said one time, I brought him up earlier. He also said one time, when you're sick, there's a daytime NyQuil and a nighttime NyQuil. I think you should have either one because your cold doesn't effing care what time it is.
Exactly. This is true too.
The only difference is that they make them in red and green, Christmas colors.
Santa probably knows that.
Yes, he probably does. By the way, his North Pole, I think is out in Pikes Peak at Manitou Springs in Colorado, near there. Yeah. There was at least a statue of Santa. And Erica and I wanted to go take a picture, but then there was another tourist that pulled in and said, "Okay, we don't want to be around people." Yeah. And we're tourists too, but we're like, no, we want to be the only ones. Yeah, Santa doesn't need another group of a statue of Santa doesn't need another group of human beings going,
"Look at us!"
Hashtag cool times.
I know.
Speaking of cool times, I hope everybody enjoyed this cool time. This was number 33 of the cool times. At Okemo Valley TV, this has been another episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. Kelly, Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. High five. Rebecca, thank you. Everybody here, check us out, okemovalley.tv or sammybmusic.com. Have a great day. Think snow.
Make it a good one.
And water, rivers. Peace. Don't worry now, my darling. Woo! Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. You can watch all the episodes of this podcast on Okemo Valley TV's YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. You can visit their website, okemovalley.tv, consider downloading their mobile app, or watch them on live television via VTEL, channel 166 and 167, Comcast 1076 and 1086. Are you interested in supporting a local media station? Please consider becoming a member today. Visit okemovalley.tv for more information.